On June 27th of this year, the Congressional Gold Medal was conferred on Marines who had trained at Montford Point here in North Carolina. They were black Marines who served in a segregated service and trained there and served our country during the Second World War and after. On June 27th, I was watching the evening news and saw the story. Little did I know that a priest of the Diocese of North Carolina was one of those Marines. I'm with the Reverend Clifford Coles here in Rocky Mount at Good Shepherd Church. Cliff Coles is one of the Marines who received the Congressional Gold Medal, and he has his replica of that. Cliff, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
You decided in 1946, youngster, you were in high school, to join the Marine Corps.
I did.
You went to a recruiter.
I went to a recruiter. I had been attracted by these lovely uniforms that they wore, the blue jackets, the white trousers, the cap, and so on. And I thought, well, I would look pretty nice in an outfit like that. So I went to join up. We had a nice session with the recruiting officer who gave me certain assurances that I would be well looked after, and it was a good move that I was making. And when I asked him point blank whether I was going to be sent to Montford Point, where I knew black Marines were being trained, he assured me that, oh, no, that was not the case. You were going to be sent to the place where all regular Marines are being trained. And with that, I felt more self-assured, and I signed on the dotted line.
But then so you joined the Marines.
I did.
And you got on the train?
When I was summoned to report for duty, they got us all together and we got on this train going south. Lots of anticipation. But I didn't know that until I finally arrived that the recruiting officer had lied to me. That I was at Montford Point, where black Marines only were being trained, and our drill instructors were black, but all of our officers were white. And I was deeply, deeply hurt, deeply disappointed, because I had no experience in this segregated situation. I'd been born and reared in New York, and New York is kind of the melting pot of the nation, really. It took a little while, but I finally got myself together. You have to be realistic about these things. Over time, I was sometimes asked to say the cadence as we march. Up, who, he, oh, hip your left, right, hip your, and so on and so on. Over time, we grew accustomed to the procedures and what we had to do, what the orders were, and so on.
Tell me about the day that you received the award and what this award meant.
Oh gosh, the old heart began to thump. I said, they're calling my name, they're calling my name, I'm going to get this medal. I never expected anything like this. This was really quite an accomplishment. Some of the persons who hold this medal, George Washington, other names, they're in one of these booklets I've read. And it's really a fine thing to have served my country even under the stress that I was experiencing, and then finally have them acknowledge that. That was the real rub for me. You put us in this segregated place. You've used us. You've used our manpower, used our energy, and then you offer us an opportunity for a discharge so that you can return the Marine Corps to its lily white status. That went down like a lead balloon. So,
yeah, that was part of the deal. Tell us about the deal that you were offered.
Yeah, well, what they said, again, hostilities were over at this point, and you can accept our offer for a full and honorable discharge and go back to your life as a civilian, or you can stay in the Marine Corps. If you stay, there will be a cut in pay. And there was a groan that went through the crowd as we heard that. some of the guys did stay. They stayed. I realized at that time that I had made a terrible mistake. I needed to go back and finish high school. I needed to follow the advice of one of my drill instructors who urged me to go to college and named the college Shaw University. I wanted to be able to do that and then tell him that I had done that. And so I opted for the full and honorable discharge.
But that was really a setup. They were trying to basically get
Yes.
black Marines out.
Yes, yes.
And you did go on, you went on to Shaw, you eventually went on to earn your doctorate, eventually a distinguished career in education and a distinguished ministry as a priest of the church. You and your wife, Marcia, were telling me about the present Commandant of the Marine Corps and his impact on making this happen.
I think his name was Amos, I believe, I'm not sure. But he told us that he didn't know initially about Montford Point. This was new information for him. And when it came to his attention, he said immediately, we got to change this. We got to do something to show these men and women and their families and so on how we valued their time and energies and so on. Many of our guys were passed on by that time, and some of the families were grieving, that they sent their son Willie or their son Charlie, and there had been no recognition given to him or their son or grandson. And so this was an effort to kind of turn all of that around and to say to the families and the spouses that we really appreciated what your son or your father or your uncle did for the government and for the country. And here is this medal of honor, one of the highest medals given to persons to honor them for their efforts and so on. So it was good to have the commandant, the leading head officer of the group to make a statement like that, make an admission like that.
And you said he came and there were 400 and some men who were still living.
Yes.
Who received the medal that day.
Yes.
And he put the medal on each one of them.
Each one of us.
And many of them were wheelchairs.
Wheelchairs.
Canes.
Crutches. Yeah. And it was a hot day. The sun shone down on us like this.
And everyone was sitting.
We were all seated.
What did you do when it came to you?
When it got to me, he finished this gentleman next to me, and I asked, "Sir, may I stand?" He said, "Yes, you may stand if you wish."
What did you do?
I rose. I said to myself, I'm able-bodied, so I'm going to receive this medal on my feet. And he looked up at me, and I smiled, and he smiled, and he reached up and he put the medal around my neck. And he said, "Thank you for your service." I said, "Thank you, sir." And I gave that. And then I seated myself again, and I went to the gentleman next to me. I felt good about standing. I said, well, I need to do this for my own, self-respect.
Well, as you stood and just sat down, your medal turned over. Just leave it where it is. And it reads, "For outstanding perseverance and courage that inspired social change."
Thank you,
To
sir.
make this a better world.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
So glad you were here. Glad I'm here.
We're glad you're here. And God bless you, and keep the faith.